Good morning. This is retired Pastor Karl Schmidt from Calvary Lutheran Church, a Lutheran church in Western New York, in Amherst, New York. Well, good morning. It's sunny this morning, finally, and it's warming up outside. It started out cold, but it's should hopefully a bit warm up, which would be nice. It's nice just to have a nice sunny morning. The sun came out right away, and it's looking good, at least so far. Well, it's the sixth Sunday of Easter, and it's May 9th of 2021. We're still in the pandemic. However, we're coming out of the pandemic, which is nice. Hopefully you're vaccinated by now. There's certainly opportunity for everyone to be vaccinated, except the children so far, and they're working on that too. Hopefully that'll be ready soon, and even the kids can get vaccinated. But for the adults, hopefully you've taken advantage of going down to the pharmacy or your doctor or wherever you can get your vaccine shot, and get your shot because. A, it's simple, and B, it makes a lot of sense, and it's a good thing. Stay healthy. God gives us doctors and scientists, nurses, people who are gifted in medicine and science to help us be well. And so, go get your shot. So that's kind of in the theme of what the text is this morning, about present comforts. A vaccine is a present comfort when you're in the midst of a pandemic. And the text that Jesus speaks in the Gospel of John for the sixth Sunday of Easter, from the Gospel of John, the 16th chapter, is a present comfort. And so that's what we're looking at this morning, a present comfort. So I'll read the text, which is from the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verses 23 through 33. And in that day ye shall ask me nothing. Verily, verily, I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall ask the Father in my name, he will give it to you. Hitherto you have asked nothing in my name. Ask and ye shall receive, that your joy may be full. These things I have spoken to you in Proverbs. But the time cometh when I shall no more speak to you in Proverbs, but I shall show you plainly of the Father. At that day ye shall ask in my name, and I shall not say unto you that I will pray the Father for you. For the Father himself loveth you, because ye have loved me, and have believed that I came out from God. I came forth from the Father, and am come into the world. Again, I leave the world, and go to the Father. His disciples said unto him, Lo, now thou speakest plainly, and speakest no proverb. Now we are sure that thou knowest all things, and needst not that any man should ask by thee. By this we believe that thou camest forth from God. Jesus answered them, Do ye now believe? Behold, the hour cometh, yea, is now come, that ye shall be scattered, every man to his own, and shall leave me alone, and yet I am not alone, because the Father is with me. These things I have spoken unto you, that ye might have peace, in me. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. That ends that portion of the gospel text from the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verses 23 through 33. I'm going to focus this morning on a present comfort, which is in verse 33, the last of the verses, and the first basic half of that sentence, or the first sentence there. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. Now, a lot of the different parts of this text, I have to tell you, I really don't understand at all. When the disciples, and truly, I don't think the disciples understood it either, even though they said, oh, yeah, now you're speaking plainly. Really? Plainly? When Jesus speaks of his Father, I don't think we can plainly understand that at all. How would we understand this idea of God? I think the disciples were just overwhelmed. I don't think they really had much of an idea of what Jesus was actually speaking about, of leaving this world and going to the Father, and have coming from the Father and come into this world. How exactly could they understand such things? Jesus, of course, was speaking of the incarnation, being born of Mary in the little town, Bethlehem. And yet, are the disciples saying they understand that? I'm retired now. I've looked at this for over 35 years. I can't even say I begin to understand this. How it is that God became man for our sakes, which is exactly what this text is about. And so Jesus, in this last verse, verse 33, he says something more plainly than anything else in there. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. And you see, this is spoken for the present, the ekete in the Greek, from echo, to have, to own, to possess. This is the second person plural. That's y'all, as a southerner might say, a second person plural. But it's present. It's for the now. You see, other parts of this text happened at some other time, or will happen at some other time. The incarnation happened previously, and where Jesus shows us his Father will happen in heaven, apparently. Something yet to come, but something that's for right now, because that's what we need, isn't it? It's only the things that are right now that are useful to us at the moment. If someone promises you a large gift, it does you no good right now. That's the nature of gifts. A gift only does you some good if it is available to you right now. Otherwise, a gift is just words. It's nothing but hot air. But Jesus is speaking to us about something that we can have and possess now. And see, it's his hope that is that we would have this peace. The to have here, the verb, not only is it in the present, but it's in the subjunctive. Subjunctive. The subjunctive mood is one of anticipation, expectation that something will be. And that thing that would be, here Jesus is speaking of his peace, eirene. That word peace is different than the worldly meaning. The worldly meaning of peace is to be comfortable, to be without conflict, to be at rest, to be safe. When one is at peace, one is happy. But what Jesus means here by peace is to actively be in a relationship with God the Father that we on our own can't possibly have. Because you see, this is the entire point and purpose of Jesus coming to us from the Father, was to create a situation that did not exist. Previously, before us and the Father, there was distance, estranged distance. We had left God's good graces. And how we had done this? Well, you can call it sin, but After a lifetime of being a pastor, I don't know what sin is. That is, oh, there's my coffee maker. If you hear the beep, it's my coffee maker. Anyways, peace is, sin, first off, is this condition that exists between us and God. It's not something we actually do. Those are symptoms, but they're not the real thing itself. The symptoms of sin can be anything and everything. The actual condition between humankind and God is not something we do in our lives, which means that sin is actually not something we do at all. It's what we are. It's a what and a who. It's who we are and what we are. We're broken. We're in a state of brokenness, not just on our own, but before the Father in heaven. And again, I don't understand that at all. Either how this originated. We have the story of Adam and Eve and the fall into sin, blah, blah, blah. But what does that mean? How is it that the Scripture would tell us that at first there was no difficulty between the human creature and the God, and then there was? How is it that the human creature became broken? That is not from our point of view. And that is not something that we can do or an act that we perform or an act that we omit. God said to Abraham, "Walk with me and be thou perfect." He said to Moses, "Thou shalt love the Lord thy God." What does that mean? I don't know. That's the problem. So when Jesus says, "I come to bring peace," eirene in the Greek, and he would anticipate, you would hope that we would have this echete, that the subjunctive, present. That's something we would presently have, and this is his anticipation for us, that we would have eirene. Again, if I don't understand the brokenness, how can I understand the repair? How can I understand the remedy if I don't understand the malady? And this is also the case, which makes this sort of peace not just a comfortable feeling or a feeling at all. It's a condition that exists between us and the Father, where our brokenness is no longer the case, where now we stand before God, where the law is fulfilled, not by us, but by Jesus. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God. And this is something that Jesus is, because he is God and man. And so he alone is capable of this demand, this law. And at the same time, having fulfilled that, he brings us righteousness. In Hebrew, tzedek. In German, Gerechtigkeit. In Greek, dikaiosune. In Latin, justus. And in English, to be right. To be right with God. Again, that's not from our point of view, but his. This is the God speaking to us. And that's what Jesus says in the beginning of verse 33. These things, tauta, I have spoken unto you. Lela leka. In Greek, that's the Greek verb from leleo, which means to proclaim something, to speak something, to preach something. And so Jesus, this is first person singular. It's he speaking to us. It's in the indicative, which it's a voice of certainty, and it's in the active. He's the one doing it, but it's perfect. It's in the perfect mode. That means it's complete. It's a final word. It's the final sentence that's spoken. It's the last word, if you will, on the subject. And so Jesus comes to tell us something that is not uncertain, but altogether certain. That in him we have peace. And that is a marvelous, wonderful thing, because he speaks from the point of view that matters, and that is from the Father. An announcement from the Father that he is at peace with us. Since we could not possibly make peace with him, he made peace with us by sending us his Son Jesus, who did this wonderful thing. And I say thing because I don't know what else to call it. I don't understand the repair. I don't understand the brokenness. And I don't know how. I don't even really understand when God says, "Thou shalt love the Lord thy God." What does that mean? You can say with all our heart, with all our soul, with all our mind, with all our being, with all our strength, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know what that means. But Jesus has accomplished this for us. And I know what it means when someone does something for me. If someone carries something for me, I understand that. If someone pays a bill for me, I understand that. It's done, it's finished, it's complete. And this is the nature of the gospel, of this good news. That Jesus, this is of this section of the gospel from John 16, verses 23 to 33, this is the part I do understand, where Jesus is saying that he has spoken these words to us, that in him peace we might have. And that it is his anticipation and hope that we would in him find and know peace. Well, again, this has been retired Pastor Karl Schmidt, and I hope this has been some use to you, some helpful, that you understand more clearly what it is that Jesus is trying to tell us here this sixth Sunday of Easter from the Gospel of John, chapter 16, particularly verse 33, the first half. And that hopefully you do have, from the voice of the Father speaking toward us, peace between us and him, brought to us and announced to us by his Son, Jesus. Well, enjoy your day. I know right here, right now, it's still sunny. Sometimes it clouds up, but right now it's still sunny here in Western New York. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay well. Go get your vaccine shot. If your doctor says you're eligible and candidate to go get your shot, go get it. There's no reason in the world not to. And wear a mask in places where it's appropriate and necessary. And just use common sense. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.